and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've got a debut on the channel, well, at least a debut for me solving this constructor on the channel today for Randall, and a puzzle called Sum of the Shade, which our testers tell me is really, really wonderful. It's a take on Yin Yang, with sort of quadruple clues, but the difference, don't worry if you've never heard of Yin Yang or quadruple clues, I'll explain all this properly when we do the rules, but the idea here is that it's only the shaded cells that contribute to the counts of these quadruple clues, which is it's a weird one, but apparently it yields a really, really quality puzzle. And I'm going to have a go at it for you in a moment or two's time. I think it's got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters, and a lot of appreciative comments. Now, I don't have much news for you today. A quick shout out to yesterday's puzzle. If you've not had a go at that, do have a battle with a schoolboy in the form of Chan Erturan. I mean, it's slightly underplaying the power of Chan's mind to describe him as a schoolboy. He is a schoolboy, but he's also one of the best Sudoku solvers and setters in the world. So there's a fantastic killer Sudoku that we featured yesterday. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. Other than that, you've still got a week to enter this month's competition over on Patreon, so do have a look at that. I can't think of what else I meant to mention. Why don't we just kick straight into it and have a look at Sum of the Shade by Randall. These are the rules we've got. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. And then we've got Yin Yang, so we have to shade some cells such that all shaded cells in the grid form a single orthogonally connected region, and all unshaded cells also form a single orthogonally connected region, and no 2x2 region may be fully shaded or fully unshaded. So I'm going to do the example I always do to try and explain Yin Yang shading. This would be a valid Yin Yang shading of the puzzle. Should we go? Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, okay. So why is this correct? Why is this legitimate? Well, you can see that the green area is orthogonally connected. Orthogonally connected means shares an edge with. So if we were to add this cell to the green region, this is now broken, because this green cell here is not orthogonally connected to any of its friends, and it must be. And also, if we hunt in the grid, we'll find the same is true for the purple region, but also there's no region here. There's no 2x2 area anywhere that is just a single colour. So this is a legitimate yin-yang shading. And there's only one more rule, which says numbers in circles are the sum of the digits within shaded cells that touch the circle. Only shaded cells count toward the total. Can I unwind? Yeah. Okay. So if this was, well, if we're saying green is shaded, yeah, there's many places this is broken. But for example, those 3 squares would then sum to 14. Is how to interpret the rule. Don't worry about. I mean, these 2 cells can't sum to 20. So clearly my example is incorrect. But that's not surprising. But do have a go. I think Mark's had the pleasure of doing battle with Randall on 3 occasions. This is my first battle with Randall. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Well, there are many areas I can see. There's like a domino that sums to 12. Both of those cells must be shaded, mustn't they? So should we do grey and light green probably as our colours. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this will matter, but I'll mention it. In this region here, there are some number of shaded cells that sum to 23. Well, it can't be just 2 cells, because you can't make 2 different Sudoku digits sum to 23, even if you make them as big as possible. 8 and 9 only sum to 17. And we can't make all 4 of those squares add up to 23, because that will break the 2x2 rule, because that entire 2x2 is now shaded. So in fact, we know that some 3 cells in this region are shaded, and they must therefore be the digits 6, 8 and 9. So that might be worth keeping track of. The same sort of thing is true there, but it's less powerful. There must be 3 shaded cells in that 22 region, and they must include a 9, because 3 cells adding to 22. If you try and did it with 6, 7, 8, you'd only get to 21. Yeah, I imagine we're going to have to think about Yin Yang here. So maybe I'll run through a few secrets I know about Yin Yang puzzles in general, because if you've never seen Yin Yang before, these might not be immediately obvious. The first rule of Yin Yang is like the first rule of Fight Club. You do not tell anybody about Fight Club. No, I do tell people about Yin Yang. So the first rule is that this pattern, a checkerboard, is impossible in Yin Yang. And the reason is that we have a requirement that both the green cells and the grey cells need to form an orthogonally connected region. And let's try and join the greys together. And you can see whichever route I take, whether I go across the bottom or over the top, the effect will be to strand a green cell within a pool of grey. And that green cell, if we did that, for example, this green cell cannot orthogonally connect to this green cell now. So there can't be checkerboards in Yin Yang. Now, that has an interesting application when it comes to thinking about the perimeter of Yin Yang puzzles, because actually we can't have a change of colour along this perimeter very many times at all. We could have a string of one colour. In fact, let's use this grey to we could have a string of grey like that and a string of green like that. But that would be the most number of colour changes we could have. We could have one orthogonally connected set of grey, one orthogonally connected set of green. But let's say we had this and then we tried to introduce another grey. Now you can think of this a bit like that checkerboard example, because it's similar. If you have if you have this grey here, how are you going to connect it to this grey? And the point is, it doesn't matter what route you take to do it. It doesn't matter how you go about performing the connection. You will definitely strand a green section from its other friends. So what that means is, in a Yin Yang puzzle, you can have one colour in the perimeter. That is fine. You could do that. That doesn't break any rules. But what you can't do, sorry, my phone buzzed. Oh, hang on. Didn't I have a grey there as well? What you can't do is have more than one change of colour in the perimeter. So we can extend this grey either all the way around or part of the way around, but the moment it stops, we'll introduce some green, and then we can't have grey and then green again anywhere in the perimeter. So now one area I'm seeing something interesting then, if we think about this 2 clue, because that 2 clue is saying that there is exactly one shaded cell here. There can't be 2 shaded cells here, because you couldn't make 2 different digits add up to 2. So there is definitely a 2 in this domino. It is shaded, and the other cell is definitely unshaded. And therefore, and this can be a strategy when you do Yin Yang puzzles, well, we found that there is a break of colour along the perimeter, and if we can find another point of break of colour, I'm looking at that 4 clue. That 4 clue is different though, isn't it? Because that could be double, they could both be shaded, and that could be a 1-3 pair. So there isn't necessarily a break of colour here. I suppose the other thought we could have is, given there is definitely a grey in one of these squares, imagine the left-hand cell was grey and the right-hand cell was green. Well, then we know, because there's one contiguous stretch of grey around the perimeter, all of these would be, that doesn't work. Right, so I now know the order of this. Let me explain this a bit more fully. If it was this way round, well, we know we can't have a green anywhere now in this segment, because to do so, when we connect the green to its friend across here, we will strand this grey from this grey. So all of this would have to be grey if this was this way round. And this is a problem. 3 different digits adding to 5, I don't think so. 1, 2 and 3 add up to 6, so we couldn't do that. So in fact we now know this is the other way round. It's that way round, and now all of those squares have to be grey. Don't make a 2 by 2, so that's got to be green. I like this so far. It's very... Oh, don't make a 2 by 2. Don't make a 2 by 2. Yeah, this is lovely. It's very it has a different feel to it, doesn't it? To classic Yin Yang. Okay, but hang on. Yeah, but actually there's a more general point here, isn't there? The maximum number of grey cells in this 2 by 2 is 2. And that means in that stretch there must be a green. I don't know where it is, but it's either all 3 of them are green, 2 of them are green, or 1 of them is green. And therefore, as there is green in that little triomino, that green and that green must connect. So all of these are definitely green, as is that one. Because again, if this was grey, we'd connect the grey round, and these 3 digits would have to add up to 5, which won't work. So that's grey now, to avoid a 2 by 2 of green. Ah, we've got a 14 clue here. Well, that's got to be at least 2 digits of shadedness. Now, what in that sentence could possibly have sounded like Alexa? I do not know. It's bizarre. They're always listening. They're always listening. Right. Oh, I've got a feeling that there's an awful lot we could do here if I could just see it. Okay. Maybe not, actually. I was wondering about the sort of coincidence between these 2 by 2s. Because I can see in this 2 by 2 I've got to put 3 greys. And also, that's the same for that 2 by 2. It's slightly lower total, but you can't make 20 in 2 different cells. So 3 of these are also grey. And what I was worried about was this green has to get out, doesn't it, to touch its friends. So there are certainly, I mean, if that was the configuration for this 23 clue, that's broken. Because you can't now fill this 20 clue with 3 grey cells without walling this in. So you clearly couldn't take that one, could you? Because then this would definitely be walled in, so that would have to be green, and that means those 3 have to be grey, and it's still effectively a wall. So actually, so that must be grey, is a deduction that's legitimate. We might be able to do better than that. What about that? No, that doesn't work, because you could do that, and then the green could spill out through this gap. What about... maybe if those 2 are both... No, that doesn't work either. I wondered whether I could rule out those 2 both being grey, but this could get out through here and somehow connect itself to the green that's already in row 1. So all we actually get is that square is definitely a 6, 8 or 9, sorry. Right. Okay, I've just spotted something else, which is much simpler to do with this green domino here. That green domino has to get out, so one of these has to be green, and that means one of these is grey only, and that must be the 9, so there's a 9 in one of those 2. Now, that means, where's the 9 in row 1? It's not there, so it's over here. Oh, but that's all in green, so we don't really learn anything. Unless I'm missing a trick. 9 in... Wow. No, I don't think 9 in box 6 is restricted. Oh, here's a very simple point. This 19 clue must have 3 greys in it, exactly, and therefore there must be a grey in one of these squares, and that must connect to this grey around the perimeter, so we can do that as well. So that's green. So those 3 digits now sum to 9, so they're either 126, 135 or 234. Well, hang on. Hang on. Why don't I do the same with that? There must be a grey in there. So that grey's got to connect here as well, so we can actually connect all of this up. I don't know whether this is grey, though. It depends whether that's a naked 4 or this is a 1-3 pair. I'm a bit stuck, actually. I can't see an oh, I can. That's a 7. Sorry, I didn't see that. Well, I did see it once I looked at it, but I wasn't looking at it. Okay, that 14 is either 5, 9 or 6, 8, isn't it? It's the only way of making a domino add up to 14. This 11 clue. Problem is that could be 2 more shadeds or just 1 4 in these. If it's 2 shadeds, then it's a 1-3 pair. If it's 1 shaded, it's a single 4. If both of these were grey, they would add up to 5. And this would be grey, and you couldn't make that work, because all of those would be grey. This would have to be a 1-3 pair, and there wouldn't be a 5 domino that's possible, because 1-4 and 2-3 would not be allowed. So it's not possible that both of these are grey, which means that that is definitely green. That's the most use. That's such a poor deduction. I mean, it's true, but it's not very helpful, is it? Okay. I don't know where to look, actually. This is weird. Oh, no, I do. There's something very simple. There's a 21 clue here that doesn't have a 9 in it. There's only one way to do that. 6, 7, 8. Right, and that's not 7. So 7 is definitely in this domino. And 7, oh, 7 is in one of those 3 squares, but I don't know if that's informing this 6, 8, 9 triple that we know exists in here. There's got to be a high digit in that 12 clue. I mean, it's either 3, 9, 4, 8 or 5, 7. The highest value of... See the 19 clue here? The highest value of this square is 5. So that's marginally interesting, I think. Because I mean, maybe that could be 2 if that's an 8-9 pair. I don't know. Yeah, but what I was thinking is these squares add up to at least 14. So they've definitely got to be at least 5. And that can't be 6 on a 12 clue, can it? Oh, no, that 12 clue. No, that is right. I suddenly thought that 12 clue might be spilling over into this square, but it is in a domino, so that's legitimate. It's legitimate to take 6 out of here. So this square is either 5, 7, 3 or 4. Randall, it's outrageous. You're making me do Sudoku in your Sudoku puzzle at an alarming rate. Right, okay. No, I was going to say there's only 1 grey cell there, but that's not true. There could be 2 grey cells. They could be a 1-2 pair. Ah. Well, hang on. There's something going on here. Because... yeah, I see. Right. No, well, my brain was doing the okie dokie there, but the Yeah, I think the simplest point is that this domino is shaded, because if it wasn't, if it wasn't, the maximum number of the maximum total that these 4 cells could contribute to this 16 is 3, isn't it? Whether it's a domino or a single cell, it's 3, and that cell or that cell can't be a 13 individually. So those two are definitely shaded, which means that is unshaded, because otherwise we have a 2 by 2. Oh, well, this now I've made a cul-de-sac of green, and that green has to get out, so it has to go over there. The 90, oh, this is lovely. This is really interesting. It's really interesting. This still has to get out. Oh. So now it depends where one of these is grey, and this is a domino. This is one of each, because the green has to get out, but we haven't fulfilled the 3 clue yet, so one of these is grey. Unsurprisingly, where's 1 in this column? It's not on this 12 domino, so it is in one of those 3 squares. Oh, I see. We've got 2 9 sums here. We've got that sum, and separately we've got that sum, and they share a digit here. So the shared digit must be low. Because if you think about 9 in 3 cells, it's got 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5, and 2, 3, 4 are the possibilities. And the common digit there is always a very low one. And the 4, 5, and 6 are the floating ones. So this is 1, 2, or 3. Oh, right, I've got it. Okay, these 3 squares are not big enough that this 16 can just be a domino. If this was a domino, so let's say that was green, this has to be a 7-9 pair, but I can't put 7 or 9 in a 3-cell sum that sums to 9. It won't work. So actually, this is definitely grey, that's definitely green. The green has to get out. This is definitely a 3. These have to... hang on, that's doing things. Right, so 3, 9 is not a valid... this is huge. Right, because I've got 2 12 dominoes, and I can't use 3, 9 for either of them. So they've got to be 4, 8, and 5, 7 in some order. And this square is now not 5, 7, or 8. It's 6 or 9. Oh, come on, that's doing... I'm sure that's doing more than that. I just have to see it. These have to add up to 13. Yeah, so this is a big digit. That's a 4, 5, or a 6. Because it's got to be possible to have this digit included in a 3-cell sum to 9. And if this was 3, that would be too big. It would be a 10, wouldn't it, to make those add up to 16. So this has got to be at least 4. That's 7, 8, or 9. It's not 9 by the 9 here. So it's 7 or 8. So this is not 4. So this is a 5. This is a 5 or a 6 in a 3-cell 9 sum. So there must be a 1 in one of these 2 squares. It's either 5, 1, 3 or 6, 1, 2. So this square is from 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's close now, isn't it? We're getting closer. Now, how do we do this? Oh, well, one thing we could say, which is legitimate, is where is 9? Oh, I see. Now I'm going to get that digit. Right, where is 9 in box 9? Now, it's not there. It can't be in a 3-cell sum adding to 9, so it's got to be there. And now, where's 9 in this box? By Sudoku, it's here. That means these 2 squares add up to 10, so this can no longer be 4. It's either double 5, 7, 3, or 8, 2. So this also is not 4. So this is 5, 7, or 8. So this square here is no longer able to be 8. Oh, it's not brilliant, is it? Oh, okay. This has got 7 or 8 in it. And 7 or 8 have to make an appearance, look, around this 21 clue. So that square is the 7 or the 8 that exists in this square. So that's not a 6. So there is now a 6 in one of these squares. Oh, it's so close to cracking, I think. This 20 clue is done, because it's got to be all shaded around it. That's going to be interesting. So, right, now come back to this 23 clue. It can't be those two, or we'll have penned in this green. This is brilliant. This is now look at this. It can't be this one, or again we'll have penned in the green. So it's got to be that one. Therefore, that's green. And the way that this gets out is via this little sort of Suez Canal that we've found. That's green by avoiding a 2 by 2. Right, so this is one of each. One green to get the green out, and 1 9 to be the grey 9 and satisfy the quadruple clue. This green hasn't got out, so let's get it out. That's got to be green to avoid a 2 by 2. This is a 6 8 9 triple, which places 7 in the box based off our earlier work. So that's quite nice. We can tidy up a lot of pencil marking here. And we could probably do, I don't know what we do with that. I want to sort out these 9 thingies down here. If that's 5, that's 1 3. There would have to be 2 in this. Or is this 3 doing something I don't understand? Not sure. Sorry if you can see it. Well done. I can't quite see it at the moment. That 22. I can't quite see that either. If this 4 was both cells, it would be a 1 3 pair. Would that make that a 1 3 pair? Not, maybe. No, I'm not sure it would actually. Okay, so which clue is it that I've underused? I mean, we could have to go. Oh, look, that's a 2 because the 2 is the shaded cell here. So these squares are 1 3 4 and 5. Oh, that's a horrible. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing it. There's definitely a 6 here. How do we do this? Sorry if it's obvious. That's not a 9, I suppose. So that's not a 5. Is that useful? I doubt it. Nine is definitely, oh, that's a little bit interesting. 9 is definitely up here, so 9 is in one of those. 9 is now in this 19 clue, which means the other 2 digits in this 19 clue add up to 10, and they aren't 1 9, so they're either 4 6 3 7 or 2 8. One of these at least is shaded. If these are both shaded, that's shaded. So all of those would be shaded. Oh, that doesn't work. Right. That's interesting. That's interesting and complicated. Yeah, you can't shade both of those, because if you do, these 2 squares add up to 5, And there's only 3 of these cells adding to 22. But this digit will be less than 5. And you can't make 22. If you say this is a 4, then the other 2 digits in this congregation would have to add up to 18 and both be 9, and that won't work from a Sudoku perspective. The only 2 ways of making 22 are 5, 8, 9 and 6, 7, 9. So those 2 are both not shaded. Now that means one of them is a 5. So there is a 5 in one of these. It's probably, well, so if that's 5, this is a 1, 3 pair. And then this would have to be 6, 7, 9, looking like this. And that would be green. The alternative is that that's shaded. This is then unshaded. And this would be 5, 8, 9 somehow. Okay, but I don't think I know how to do that. Right, so we're going to have to think harder. And I'm unsure where it is these add up to 13. It's not maths on the box. No, it's not going to be maths on the box. That's 18. 31, the secret, which is something I share with only my very favourite people. And of course, if you're watching this, you're one of my favourite people, is that the whole Sudoku box sums to 45 because it will contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. So if I know that's 13, and if I know those are 9, and I know that's 9 as well, then I've got 31 in those 6 cells, which means I've got 14 in these 3 cells. But 14 is not a very interesting number. It's very close to the average number. The average Sudoku digit is a 5. So 3 cells with an average digit in them would sum to 15. And this sums to 14. So it's very nearly extremely average. Okay, what are those digits then? By Sudoku, they are 1, 2 and 6. Is that in any way helpful? I don't know. I don't think so. There's nothing in the rules about us not being able to repeat. I was wondering if I could rule this out from being double 5, because I'd repeat a digit in a shaded, in a sort of quadruple clue, but it doesn't say that's impossible. So I don't think I can rule that out. Okay, so I've got to find something else. It could be any number of things. Oh, yeah, let's have a look at this 16. That can't be a 2-cell domino adding to 16 now, because it would need to be 7, 9, and there's a 9 down here. So all of that is shaded, which means this green has to get out. Ah, that's done my 22 clue. There you go. There we go. And we worked out these can't both be shaded, so that's now unshaded. And now I can avoid a checkerboard. Well, or we could get this green out, whichever way right round we want to do it. So now I've got that digit fixed. This is brilliant. This is quite brilliant. That's 5 by this quadruple clue, so that is now an 8, 9 pair. That's got me a 7 here. Now 7, these had to add up to 13, so that's a 6. So that's a 6. This 6 must go with a 1, 2 pair, so this is getting a bit more fixed now in terms of where we're going. Look, this is now a 7 or an 8. Now that can't go with 5 because these add up to 10. So it must be 3, 7 now, which means that's a 5. These 2 squares are 4, 8. That does some work at the top because we know that 8 goes there, 7 goes in the corner. This column has not had a 5. 5 must go with 1 and 3 to make 9, so that's a 2. We've got a little flurry of activity going on, which is very welcome. This is the low digit from the 14 pair now. And in fact, it's a 6 by Sudoku. So that's an 8, that's an 8, that's a 9. we've got all the high digits in column 2. That's a 1 or a 2, therefore. By Sudoku, it sees 3 and 4 in its row. That's 1, 2, or 4. That's 1, 2. Well, there you go. Where's 3 in column 2? That would have been the quicker way of seeing that. There's a 3 in one of these squares. Now, where do we look next? We could say, well, what are those digits? 4 and 8. Yeah, I could do that. 4, 8. So 1, 2, and 9 up here. 2. This is a 1 because the 9 is over here. So I get a 2, 9 pair, which means these are a 4, 5 pair. Now, is anything resolved? It might be. Well, I have a feeling we're going to have an 8 in one of those. Because if we didn't, these would, yeah, there has to be 8 in one of them. Because if we didn't, the maximum they could be, given that 6, 5, 7, and 9 have also gone, is a 4, 3 pair, and this would have had to be a 13, which is just not going to work. So we've got 8 here, and then 2 more digits that add up to 12, which are not 4 and 8. So they're either 3 and 9, or they're 5 and 7, and they're not 5 and 7, because I can't put both of those cells in that square. So this is 9, and this is a 3, 8 pair. That seems to be logical. That's now not 9 by Sudoku. 9 at the bottom of the grid goes here. Okay, so maybe we revisit this clue now. Because this 19, we know these add up to 10, and they're not 4, 6, or 1, 9. So they're either 2, 8, which would be in one specific order, like that, or they're 3, 7, which would also be in a specific order. I've now got a 3, 8 pair. That's good. Okay, I'll keep going. Gets me that digit. Yeah, this can't be 3 because these can't add up to 13. All of the high digits have gone from row 7 already, so that's going to have to be 8. These have to add up to 8 without using 6 or 7, so this is a 3, 5 pair. I've not put 1 and 4. Oh, I could have done that 4 by Sudoku a while ago, but I wasn't looking at that. Oh, look. This little green pond is a pond. Well, it has to join its friends, so it's got to go out through there. That's totally useless. It's not helped at all. Okay, what about this row then? 1s, 2s, and 4s. Oh, whoopsie. 1s, 2s, and 4s to place. So that, look, there's a 1, 2, 4 triple now in box 4. So we need 3, 5, 7, and 9. So 9 is definitely in one of those squares, which is I think a fairly meaningless pencil mark at this point. 8 resolves these, this 8, this 4. No, what was I about to say? Oh, that's an 8. Okay, okay, yeah, that gives me an 8 here and a 3 here. 3 here, 5 here. Is this 2? Yeah, that's a 2 by maths. 1, 4, 1, 4. No, what is it? 1, 4, 7. Oh, it's a snooker maximum. Where's 7 in column 5? It's got to be here. So there's a 7 in one of these squares. This is a 1, 4 pair and doesn't involve 3. So we can place the 3, can place the 1, place the 4 by Sudoku. This is now 5. So in the top row, we've not placed 6 and 9, look. It's still being recalcitrant, isn't it? It's not giving up. It's probably because I've not used a clue. That is what we've learned, is that it's important to use the clues. This is a 1. Let's use the Sudoku clues as well. So in the bottom row, we've not put 6 and 7 in. So this is a 6, 7 pair, which means this is a 2, 3 pair, which means these two squares are a 6, 7 pair. That looks right, doesn't it? And the 7 and the 6 are resolved. These two squares now 4 and 5, which is also resolved. So that's a 2, that's a 4, that's a 4, that's a 5. 5 lives in one of these 2 squares. That's no longer a 4, so that's a 4. Okay, so what are we doing now? We've got to put 1, 2, and 6 in here. Yeah, so 6 can only go there. Now I've got a 1, 2 pair in row 5, and I've not put 3 and 7 in yet. So 3 and 7 are in these squares. It feels like it's headed towards either this. Oh, that could be grey, look, and make an 11 clue work. Yeah, that's how it must work, because if this 11 clue was not made up with this 4, it would have to be made up with a 1-3 pair in these positions, and that would break for any number of reasons. Firstly, it would cause a 2 by 2 that's all grey, and secondly, you couldn't put 1 or 3 into this square here. So that must be grey. Completing the 11 clue, rendering these cells green, don't make a checkerboard, so that's also green. I'm going to have to think about this 17 clue and how many. Well, it could. No. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, okay. So the 17 clue could have been 2 digits adding up to 17 if it had been those 2, because that's the only one that can be a 9 to accompany the 8. But that would cause a checkerboard. If that's shaded and these 2 are unshaded, it causes a checkerboard. So it's not that. And that means 3 digits here are shaded. And, okay, so the other 2 digits add up to 9, then, that are not the 8 here. So it could be those 2 with a 2, 7. Or, well, it can't be these 2, can it? That's impossible, because this would have to be a 7, and it can't be. So that is definitely shaded. Now, what's going on with that? So it's one of these 2. Yeah, but if this is shaded, oh look, there's actually more Sudoku we can do. So let's at least do that. What are these digits? 5, 5, and 9. That's probably going to clarify things. Yeah, because if this is shaded, these 2 squares have to add up to 9, and they can't be 3, 6, or 7, 2, or 5, 4. It just doesn't work. So that's the shaded one. This is unshaded. Oh, lovely. Look, look, look. That's still got to get out, which makes that green. And then Sudoku must fix the shading up here. That's a 7 by maths then. So that's a 3. 3, 2, 7, 6, 6, 9, 9, 5. Okay, that's all good. 5 therefore here. 1, 2, and 8. Well, that's 8. Oh, that's going to do it, is it? Yeah, that's doing it. That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. So we can finish the Sudoku, but the way that we finish the shading is to note 9 is shaded around here. So we shade that, we unshade that, and that has worked a treat. And if we double-click green, you can see it's contiguous, orthogonally connected. I can't see a 2 by 2. If we double-click grey, we get the same thing. So I hope that's right. Yes, that is brilliant. What a brilliant puzzle, Randall. Fabulous. That's stunning. It's really original. Very different. So I mean, that's another. I say this sometimes when we see slight twists on rule sets or new rule sets. You can see how it's got legs. You know, there could be other puzzles with this exact rule set that would really work and have fresh logic, because what Randall's done is, you know, it's original enough and a good enough idea that it's got legs. And well, the amount of pleasure I've just derived from this puzzle, some of the shade shows that. So very cool. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.